Yes, yes, yes. How are we doing, guys? Hope you're really good. So today we're going to be going through a field focus. Now, this is one of 3 sessions that we're going to be going over the next week as we build up towards our private online Awaken Your Potential event, if you like. So the whole point of the next 2 weeks is really to be able to deliver as much value as possible to as many guys as possible who really need to make sure that they are in command of their time, their energy, and their focus, right? So we're going to go through as much info as I can give you to physically change the way that you're showing up. Okay, so today is about focus, fueling focus, understanding focus, because focus is the number one thing that allows us to dictate our time and our energy. All right, so let's get into this. This will be about 10-15 minutes long, and then we've got one on Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, and then we've got one on Friday at 6:30 in the morning as well. Okay, so we're going to go through each one of these, and they're hopefully going to be able to develop your skill set as we go along, and then we will dive into the online private 3-day Awaken Your Potential. If you haven't registered for that, you can do it on the link that's in the description. So I want you to think about focus in this way. Morning, guys. Hope you're all good coming in. When you sit behind a rifle, and I remember doing this when I was doing my sniper course, I would always look through the sights, and the most important part for me of being that sniper was making sure that my sight was as clear as possible. And I want you to think about looking through binoculars is the best thing that you probably might have got through if you haven't looked behind a sight in a rifle. And when you look at those binoculars, it becomes quite blurred and hurts your eyes, right? So when you're looking through and you're like, my God, and then you have to focus in those binoculars so that you can see nice and crystal clear. Ever been in that position before? Well, this is how I see focus within our lives. So for a lot of people, okay, it's looking through those binoculars and blurred vision. Okay, it like literally looks clouded. We don't quite know where we're going. It hurts our eyes. But then we can find things that we can slightly adjust to make it crystal clear. And that's what we're trying to do with focus for you guys. Because when we have that crystal clear focus like we do in the binoculars, then our time and our energy is being well used. So let's look here. Now, I don't know if this is the right way around for you yet, because I haven't quite figured out YouTube Live exactly yet, so to be able to turn the screen, but this is more for my reference, and hopefully you can see it. Focus, dictated here, allows us to control our time and our energy. Wherever our focus goes, our time and our energy will follow, okay? If there is no focus, our time and our energy is wasted. And that's where the frustration comes in. Thanks, Scott. That's where the frustration comes in. When we don't have focus, it's kind of like wasted, unproductive time. And I've done this scribble here. If you imagine a 3-year-old grabbing a pen and a piece of paper and him just scribbling, that's our brain. Does anyone else's brain feels like that when they're not focused? It just feels that scribble. It's kind of like the blurred vision in the binoculars, right? It becomes all over the place. Okay. And then here's a model that really dictates that really well. So you might have seen me do this on some of my ads or some of my videos before, but I just want to share this with you again. So if we look at all of these crosses up here, now this is what I would call an overload of focus. You're trying to achieve all of these things personally, professionally. We're trying to change the world, right? Like we all do. We want to get ahead. So we say, I'm going to focus on all these things. And our time and our energy is spread super thin right across all of these things that we said we're going to do. Okay, is anybody in that model right there? So if you're kind of watching this or watching it back and you kind of go, I resonate with that. All of these things and our time and our energy and focuses is spread so thin that we're not actually getting anything done. We're overwhelmed, we're overrun, and we're struggling. And the consequences are we're struggling to cope emotionally, mentally, and physically within life. Okay. But if we could go to this less is more, okay, if we look at focus at the less that we have to focus on, the more that we can get done. And this is where this model really signifies that. So these 3 things here might be the 3 things that I need to focus on today, and my time and energy and focus can be spent on achieving those 3 things. So is it more realistic for me to be able to go, right, I can achieve these 3 things, although it's only 3 things, and I don't feel like it's monumental amounts, I'm certainly going to get more done than having all of these things that I've done here right now. Does that make sense? So focus almost becomes sniper-like in terms of what are the top 3 things that I need to do today. Okay, so for example, my top 3 things that I need to do. Number 1 is that I've got my one-to-ones with my private mentor clients. My second focus was to deliver this to you here right now. And then my third one is a personal one, is to make sure that I am home by 4:30 to be able to spend time with the family this evening. That's my barrier before then I run another workshop tonight with my private clients. So they're the top 3 things. There are other things that I've kind of got going on, but they are my priority. So my time and my energy are suddenly magnified to those things. Okay. So when we have focus, we have time and energy, and we have what I would call the 4 C's. Now the 4 C's are what make us successful. There's what gives us growth. They're the things that make us go in the right direction and feel feel like they give us that point of view where we can move forward. So the 4 C's are control of our time and our energy, of our life, of our emotions, of our actions, of our decisions, of our outcomes. Okay, the consistency, so control, okay, consistency of action, clarity of knowing what you've got to do and how you're going to get there, and then commitment to the cause. So that's what this brings. This formula brings those things. So when you have these 4 things in your life, okay, suddenly we're moving forwards. And if ever you kind of feel like you're stuck, ask yourself, which one of the C's have I not got at the minute? Have you not got control? Have you not got consistency? Have you not got clarity? Or have you not got commitment? It might be more than one. It might be all of them. If you want to, if you're watching and you want to be interactive, tell me which one right now is not happening for you. So then we kind of get to the point where we've got these 3 things that we want to achieve. How do we get to those 3 things that we want to achieve? Okay. So there are 3 different types of focus. Okay. We're going to go into this in much more detail on Awaken Your Potential. Okay. When we do the 3-dayer next week. So there are 3 different types of focus. There's ST focus, NT focus, okay, LT focus. All right. This means short term, mid-term, long term. So this is my definition of when I put them in now. Okay. So short term is your day, your week, possibly 12 weeks for me. Your midterm is 6 months to 12 months, and then long-term focus is 5 to 10 years. So thanks for guys that are engaging. Great stuff. So this is really key, because what we have to understand is that to know what our focus is today, we've got to know what our focus is tomorrow. And not just necessarily, I mean tomorrow, but in your future. So when we look at 2 different models here, this is my model, and I've been doing this a long time, so I'm quite conditioned, versus somebody maybe who's just starting on our Elite Movement Blueprint, okay, which is our onboarding course. So for me, where I work on my focus on the short term, I'm focused on my 12-week goals, my weekly focus, but that is to achieve my midterm focus. So what I'm trying to achieve over a year. And then that's trying to achieve what I want to achieve long term. So whenever I reverse engineer this, the things that I'm doing today, the things that I'm focusing on today are moving me to the things that I want to focus on long term. So there is a longer, bigger picture in play here. So the things where my time and energy is going today is invested in achieving an outcome that's 6 months away, that's 1 year away, that's 5 years away. Does that make sense? So my focus today, these 3 things are all dictated as part of the bigger plan. And this is where, again, a lot of people go wrong, because they don't know necessarily where they're going. How can you have focus when you don't know where you're going tomorrow, when you don't know what the goal is, when you don't know what the outcome is? And this is where, for so many guys, that frustration comes in, because it's just wasted time and energy. If you were budgeting to buy a house and get a mortgage, you would know that you are saving money for that mortgage and that house. There is accountability for where your time and energy is going. So if you had to justify why you couldn't go on holiday, if you had to justify why you couldn't get a new car, it's because I need to save the money to get the mortgage. And it's the same with time. Time is the same thing. we can't waste time and energy on that project because it's not part of the bigger picture of this project that I'm working on. Make sense? So we're really being accountable for the time, energy, and focus of where we're going. And that's where this comes in. And then somebody who's just starting with us, we would just start purely on the focus on a weekly basis and on a daily basis until we become more conditioned at getting the hang of, okay, what do I need to achieve this week? What do I need to achieve today? So we're not becoming overwhelmed with it. And then suddenly we become more conditioned, and then we go, right, okay, what are we going to achieve over the next 6 months? What's the focus over the next 6 months? And that's the stage, this stage here, when people have finished our blueprint, elite movement blueprint, which usually is a 2-3 month period of time, we then go, right, the next stage is to focus on the 6 to 12 months. And then once we've done that, we then go, right, where do we want to be in five years? Okay. So I'm going to finish off. Final part, guys. Whenever we have focus, there are three key things here that I always ask myself when I'm focusing. Does it benefit you? Does it benefit you? How does it benefit you personally, professionally, in your career, in your business, in your relationships, in your health? Okay. And if it doesn't benefit you, then why are you doing it? That's what you've got to challenge yourself all of the time. If I'm trying to build focus, does it benefit me? Okay, does it benefit me doing this here with you? Yes, because it allows me to build up a relationship with you. Does it benefit me working on mentoring with my one-to-one clients? Of course it does, because that's my job and that's my career and we're building it up. Okay. Does it benefit me to come home, make sure I get that family time before my evening educational classes tonight? Of course it does. Okay, so I'm always challenging, but does it benefit me to go to London to go and work in a co-working space? Of course it doesn't, because it's miles away. I'm not going to get home on time. I'm going to spend too much money. That's just a random, that's a random example. But if I'm doing something and it's not benefiting me, why am I doing it? Do you know what I mean? Second one, does it move you forwards? Progression is always so important for men. Men want to feel like the progressing. So does it move you forwards? Do we get better? So doing this with you, yes, because it improves the way that I show up. It allows me to build relationships. It allows me to practice on a different platform I haven't used before. And tonight with coming home, does it move me forwards? Yes, because I'm building those relationships. Always, always, always. Okay. And then the last one, does it lead others? Does it lead you to lead others? And our saying is always lead you to lead them. So in some respects, is it benefiting the people around you? Okay, how does it benefit the people around you? These are just questions that you can ask yourself that raise your self-awareness, that allow you to understand yourself better. All right, guys. So I hope that this helps. Our next session is going to be Wednesday, 6:30. I think we're talking about barriers. It's either barriers or prioritization. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we are talking Wednesday and Friday, both mornings at 6:30 in the morning. We've got to go through how do we build barriers, how do we build prioritization, how do we prioritize tasks and focus so that our time and energy is well protected. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be going into evening sessions on Zoom calls, much more depth on the Awaken Your Potential. Now, if you want to join that, the link is in the description. Okay. If you're already registered on that, then you can join us for our client coaching session tonight at 9 o'clock, at 7 o'clock in the Brotherhood. Okay, make sure you go and check that out. That's it. First session done. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some insight into focus and what's required to build up that world-class timings. And remember, guys, it's about a much bigger picture. You're not going to look at this and go, right, I'm all over my focus now. It's just literally about making you more aware, about commanding your time, your energy, and your focus, so that you can do all of the things that you want to do and achieve all of the goals, all your aspirations, but make sure that everything else at home is in place. All right, I'll see you Wednesday. I'm going to figure out how to finish this. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. All right, have a good day.